Welcome to another episode of Rob Wright's 10X Pop Culture. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the band U2, and I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite songs by this band. So, I grew up listening to U2 in the 80s. Their songs were on the radio all the time. Their music videos were played on MTV. They've been together over 40 years. And as of this recording on March 9th, 2024, they just spent a 5-month stint at the Sphere in Las Vegas playing music. And I wish I could have been there to see it. I just didn't get a chance to go. And I've heard great things and seen amazing pictures and heard it was just a fantastic event. But U2 has just been a popular band for a long time. And, you know, the interesting thing also is today marks the 37th anniversary of my favorite album by them, Joshua Tree. So today's episode, I'm going to go over my top 10. And as I introduce every song, I'll tell you a little bit about what's so catchy about it to me. And I'll tell you a bit of facts about the songs. And we'll go from there. But don't forget to like and subscribe. And then share your comments below. Do you agree with my list? What songs did I leave off the list? What are your favorite U2 songs? And let's have a great discussion. Number 10 is The Sweetest Thing. And it has sentimental value to me. So in college, I was a radio TV film major. That's my degree. And I got to play this song on the college radio station all the time, which was rare because most of college radio was up-and-coming bands, and a lot of times you'd get some of the stuff early from those up-and-coming bands to test the popularity of a particular group or music. So you wouldn't have a lot of big band hits. You wouldn't get a lot of their songs because they would go to regular radio, not necessarily college radio. But this one was on our list, and I got to play it a bunch. And so it really grew on me, and I really enjoyed the song. It's just a really good, sweet song. And to tell you some facts about it, guys, don't ever forget your wife or girlfriend's birthday, because the song is about Bono and apologizing to his wife, Allie, for forgetting her birthday while they were recording the Joshua Tree, actually. And so during the sessions, he forgot her birthday. And so this song's about making up for that. So it was originally released as a B-side on Where the Streets Have No Name in 1987. The song was later re-recorded for their Greatest Hits album in 1998. And it's a compilation of their best of from 1980 to 1990. The 1998 version was recorded on the group's Greatest Hits, as I mentioned. And they spent 5 days re-recording this song. At Bono's wife Allie's request, the profits from the single went to her favorite charity, Chernobyl Children's International. The video was interesting. It was directed by Kevin Godley, and it featured basically Bono. He's in a horse-drawn chariot with his wife in Dublin, and basically he's trying to make it up to her, trying to apologize to her, and he has various things that he presents, other musicians, firemen, various things in order to apologize to her. And it's kind of a funny video, and all the band is in the video, as you can see from some of these pictures. Check out this video. It's fun, but the song is really great, and it's got a very catchy arc. And it just brings back wonderful memories of college, and just wonderful memories of playing this song on the radio. So, that's why I love The Sweetest Thing, and that's why it's in my top 10. My number 9 song is New Year's Day, and the intro to this song just grabs me. The bass line, and then Edge has that piano, and the guitar comes in at the beginning as well, and it just is a force all to its own right at the beginning, and that really, really drew me into this song. It was the third track on their 83 album War, and was released as the album's lead single in January of 1983. The lyrics were about the Polish Solidarity movement, and it was the band's first UK hit single, peaking at number 10. It was also their first international hit. The lyric had its origins in a love song from Bono to his wife, but they were reshaped and inspired by the Polish solidarity movement at the time. And so the bass line, which I mentioned, steamed from Adam Clayton trying to figure out the chords to Visage, to the Visage song Fade to Glory during a sound check. So interesting what these wonderful artists came up with during like a sound check or during some downtime. It happens in a lot of songs about U2 where they happen upon, that riff when they were trying something else. So it's real fascinating. I'm always fascinated when musicians can come up with that with their creativity and their talent. It's so amazing to me to hear those kind of stories. In 1983, Bono said of the song, "It'd be stupid to start drawing up battle lines, but I think the fact that New Year's Day made it the top 10 indicated a disillusionment among the record buyers. I don't think New Year's Day was a pop single, certainly not in the way record buyers buy it." He said that it might define pop singles as something that lasts 3 minutes and 3 weeks on the chart, and I don't think that they could have written that kind of song. So Bono didn't think it was going to be a hit at all. The video was the first to see heavy rotation on MTV, and it was filmed in Sweden in December 1982. And basically, the video has what you think is the band on horseback, but it was actually female riders who were covered up. And the band has cameos where they're mimicking the song in front of a fire. And ironically, Bono didn't wear anything on his head during that time, and it came harder and harder for him to mouth the lyrics just because it was so cold. So it's kind of interesting artistic video. But this song has also been used. I'm not going to go into the political aspects of it because we can kind of know and kind of guess some of those. But it's just a real catchy tune, and I really enjoy listening to it. Like I said, I love the music behind it, and the lyrics are really good. It's a classic U2 song. Definitely check it out if you haven't checked out the video or listened to the song in a while. My number 8 song is one of the staples of the band, Sunday Bloody Sunday. I just adore the drum solo and Edge's guitar on this. They're just fascinating, and especially the kind of the rhythmic drums at the very beginning of it just catch me right off the hook, off the cusp. It's noted for its militaristic drum beat, which I just mentioned, harsh guitar and melodic harmonies. It's one of their political songs. Again, I'm not going to get into politics, but the lyrics describe the horror felt by an observer of the troubles in Northern Ireland, particularly in 1972, the incident in Derry where British troops shot and killed unarmed civil rights protesters. So along with New Year's Day, the song helped U2 reach a wider listening audience. And it was well received by critics. So that's some of the background of the song. Like I said, it's a staple of U2, and they play it in almost all their concerts. And, they've used it for different political messages. I'm not going to get into all of those. But it's also been covered by lots of other artists, and critics will rate it as one of the most political songs and one of the best political songs. How it got started was it grew from a riff and lyric written by The Edge in 1982. He worked on the music in Ireland while everybody else was away, and he was just kind of going through some things with his girlfriend and had a period of self-doubt, and he kind of channeled all that into a piece of music. So it's interesting what inspires these wonderful artists, as I said before. But, Edge was inspired by what was going on in his life. And it reminds me of kind of Phil Collins, and some of his first solo albums were channeled by similar things going on with his relationship in his life. And so you kind of see those themes throughout music. What happens to us? What are our thoughts and our feelings? How do we channel those? And, artists like this can come up with some creative things just based upon the raw emotion of it and letting that out through their art and through their work. And when you kind of understand that and learn about that, you gain a greater appreciation for it as I have, reading about this song and learning about it. Basically, what happened was Edge wrote the music to it, and he had some of the lyrics, but Bono came in, listened to it, and Bono kind of cleaned them up and helped them out and formed into what we know today as Sunday Bloody Sunday. So if you haven't listened to this song in a while, go listen to it. It's a great track, wonderful song. The next song in the countdown is Beautiful Day. What I love about this song is that it reminds me to be in the present and appreciate each day for what it is. I think it's a very positive, uplifting song that reminds us that things aren't necessarily as bad as they might seem, and that we should take the joy in the simple things and maybe just let some things go. Can't control everything, and I just think this is a positive, uplifting song, which is part of my enjoyment of it. Some facts about it: it was the first track on their 10th album, All That You Can't Leave Behind, and it was released as the album's lead single in October of 2000. The song was a commercial success, and it launched the album to multi-platinum status, and it's one of U2's biggest hits to date. It also brought the group back. So what happened is U2 kind of shifted gears and shifted their style in the 90s. And then with this album in 2000, they made a shift back to more of their sound in the 80s, which is also probably why I really enjoyed this song as well. Anyway, Edge's guitar was subject to debate among the band members as they disagreed on whether to use a sound similar to their earlier career or to continue to change and move on. And Bono explained that the upbeat track was about losing everything but still finding joy in what one has. In 2001, the song won 3 Grammy Awards, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best Rock Performance at the 43 Annual Grammy Awards. The group has played Beautiful Day on every one of their concerts, and I heard their most recent stint that this is one of the most spectacular songs that they do at the Sphere. So some origin and background of this song. Recording sessions in a small room at Hanover Quenny Studio in Dublin in the winter of '99. Its earliest premonition, Beautiful Day, was a different song called Always, which later releases a B-side. The song's genesis came from a chord sequence that lead vocalist Bono composed, and the Edge adapted. The group worked on the song for several days in the studio, but weren't able to make much progress on it. Edge said that as a straight rock song, it was pretty ho-hum. And co-producer Daniel Lanos said that the sound was a bit stuck in the barroom as usual. With the expectations were high, and they wanted something more to it, and they couldn't quite get to it. Then came along kind of the drums, and so Lanos arrived at the studio and he prepared some musical ideas, and he created a rhythm on the drum machine over which he added piano part and synthesized strings. So that was pretty cool. And then they played some of it on the Fender, and Edge started playing the guitar, and it kind of just started to come together as it found out. And really, basically, they were trying to figure out kind of the name and how the lyrics were going to go. And after taking a lunch break, the producers thought that Bono's impromptu vocal, which was "It's a Beautiful Day, Don't Let It Get Away," was perfect. And that's how it just came to be. So yeah, this is a staple in all their concerts and has been for a long time. And it's just a great uplifting song, as I said. So my number 6 song is One. No, I'm not out of number sequence. The song is called One. Haha, little joke there. But I really love the lyrics. The lyrics really speak to me. And then I think Edge's guitar is fantastic in this song. There's so much truth about relationships in this song. And basically, this song is about the relationships of the band. So during the album's recording sessions in Berlin, there's conflict that arose between the band members over the direction of U2's sound. and the quality of their material. The tensions almost prompted the band to break up until they achieved a breakthrough when they were doing improv. And basically, they started breaking out an improvisation of one, and the song was written after the band members were inspired by a chord progression that the Edge was playing in the studio. And the lyrics were written by Bono, were inspired by the band members' fractured relationship and the German reunification. So this one's off of Achtung Baby. Although the lyrics obstinately describe disunity, they have been interpreted in other ways. For me, this song is about unity and about bringing together and reminding people that, hey, we're one, we're here to carry each other, we're different, but we can help each other out and become one. The song was acclaimed by critics upon its release and has since been featured on polls of greatest hit songs of all time. U2 has performed one in just about every concert. And it's in a lot of the concerts, films that you've had. It's often used by the group to promote human rights or social justice. So it's been used for political purposes. I'm not going to get into all those. And then Bono has it for his charitable organization One campaign. So I just think it's a beautiful song about, to me, it's unity, even though it's birthed out of disunity. And it just shows, as I've been explaining, how creative artists can be when there's conflict. It's such an interesting thought and interesting to see how artists can really use raw emotions to really channel their music and their art and their passion. How it just comes out and arises out of certain things like a disagreement or, in this case, disunity. It became something unifying to the band. So that's what's really cool about this. And then, it's just a fantastic song. Just listen to the lyrics. It's just wonderful. I like it. My number 5 song is With or Without You. And I just adore the bass line on this. The bass line is just fantastic. And then Bono's vocals are outstanding. And then Edge comes in with his guitar in the chorus. And that really hits you right there. And it's the 3rd track on the Joshua Tree album, which is my favorite album. And it was released as the album's lead single in March of 1987. And the song was the group's most successful single at the time, becoming their first number 1 hit in both the United States and Canada, and topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks. And it was on the national singles chart for 1 week and a further 3 weeks at number 2. It's got a lot of stuff to it. So it features a sustained guitar parts played by the Edge with a prototype of Infinity guitar, along with vocals by Bono and a bass line by Adam Clayton. The ballad originated from a demo recorded in late 1985 that the group continued to work on throughout the Joshua Tree sessions. Ostensibly a song about troubled love, the track's lyrics were inspired by Bono's conflicting feelings about the lives he led as a musician and a domestic man. So you'll find that that's a recurring theme for Bono as he wrote several of these songs. In 85, U2 convened in a house that drummer Larry Mullen Jr. Brought to review material the group had written during the Unforgettable Fire tour. During this time, a rough demo of With or Without You was written, with Bono composing the song's chord sequence. The band continued to work on this song, and they created many premolations of the track, but not making any progress. Then the Edge considered the song at that point to be awful. He didn't like it, and it consisted of a Yamaha drum machine and a bass part using a short scale bass guitar. And according to Clayton, these early versions of the song sounded too sentimental and very traditional because the chords just went round and round. But after working on it, they finally got the music right, and then Bono started with the lyrics. And here's the story about Bono's lyrics for it. He wrote the lyrics during the first night visiting Côte d'Azur, I hope I got that right, in 1986, while struggling to reconcile his responsibilities as both a married man and a musician. His wanderlust and belonging to a musical act was often at odds with his domestic life. While writing the lyrics, he realized that neither facet of his life defined him, but rather the tension between the two did. He explained that the final lyrics is about torment and how repressing desires only makes them stronger. So, again, it's an interesting theme with Bono and struggling with his emotions, which is really cool because this song is just a beautiful song, and it's used in different pop culture places, and you've seen it in reference in TV shows and movies when there's tension with two lovers, and it's just always been a beautiful staple of U2 that I absolutely love. My number 4 song is Pride, In the Name of Love, which is a very powerful song that Bono was inspired by Martin Luther King to write. It's kind of about him, and I just love the guitar solo at the beginning of this song. I would be remiss if I didn't reference The Simpsons on this. U2 made a guest appearance on The Simpsons, and ironically, the other person that made the guest star on The Simpsons that night was Steve Martin as well. But it was the one where Homer's trying to be the sanitation engineer, and he interrupts a U2 concert and then gets beaten up during the playing of In the Name of Love by the security guards. Kind of a funny sidestep to this song, but the song has kind of a serious tone to it. It was the second track off of The Unforgettable Fire, and it was the lead single in September 1984. Basically, it received mixed critical reviews at the time, but it was a commercial success for U2 and one of the more popular songs that springboarded them into popularity. It's on all their greatest hits albums. The melody of chords for Pride were improvised by U2 during a sound check prior to a 1983 concert in Hawaii on the band's war tour. The Edge led the group with a series of chord changes during the sound check, but after someone made a mistake, the other members picked up on it and changed the chorus, providing a new twist to the improvisation. After the tour concluded, the group continued to work on the track at Bono's home, and basically Edge devised the guitar part for the song. Pride was further worked on during recording sessions for The Unforgettable Fire, but was subsequently re-recorded into its final version and was re-edited out. So it's interesting. Again, we're seeing the same themes in all these songs and all the background that they're improving and coming up with this. It's kind of like their muse is when they do improvisations. The song is intended to be about Ronald Reagan's pride in the American military, but according to several books that Bono had read about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, it caused him to ponder the different sides of the civil rights issue. And he just was looking at the violent and nonviolent campaigns, and Bono has, that's where he came up with the lyrics. Now, he was a little bit dissatisfied with the lyrics over the years. He thought that this song could have been done a little bit differently and done a little bit made up for it, a little bit changed a little bit better. But he basically said, I looked at how glorious the song was and thought, what is this all about? It's just a load of vowel sounds gaggling out about a great man. It's emotionally very articulate if you don't speak English. So he's one of those artists that's not ever happy with the song. It contains an erroneous reference to King's shooting. It didn't happen early morning, it happened in the evening. And Bono kind of corrects this in concert. Instead of saying early morning, he does early evening. I still think this is a great song. It's a great message about MLK. And I disagree with Bono. I think the lyrics are fine. It just reminds me of, you know, what had happened back then, what it meant, in the name of love. I mean, one more in the name of love. Like, you had the peace process, the civil rights movement back then, and it's about loving one another, loving your fellow man, loving your fellow human being. At least that's how I interpret it, and that's an important thing. And I think that's an important thing to sing about and listen to, and really, fight for. It's just fantastic, and I enjoy this song a whole lot, and that's why it's number 4. Number 3 is Where the Streets Have No Name, and I remember the video for this. The video is kind of neat. They did kind of a Beatles thing where they're on the rooftop of a liquor store, singing to a crowd, and I'll talk a little bit more about this as we talk about the song, but it's really cool. I enjoy the drums and the guitar to this song. Just fantastic. And it was a great introduction to the Joshua Tree. It's the number 1 song on the album that hooks you right into the album and gets you going. It was released as the album's 3rd single in 1987, and the song's hook is a repeating guitar using delay effect played during the song's introduction and again at the end. Bono wrote the lyrics in response to a notion that is possible to identify a person's religion and income based on the street in which they live, particularly in Belfast. And during the band's difficulties recording the song, the producer considered erasing the song's tapes and have them start from scratch. Yikes. The music originated again from a demo from The Edge, and it was composed the night before the group resumed Joshua Tree sessions in an upstairs room in the house they were staying at. And he used a machine and just plugged away at it. It was interesting because he was trying to conjure up the ultimate live song, and he came up with just a great riff. I like it. The lyrics were inspired by a story that Bono heard about Belfast, Northern Ireland, where a person's religion and income were evident by the street in which they lived. He contrasted that with the anomaly he felt visiting Ethiopia. He and his wife had done some mission work down there, trying to feed people to help them out. And basically, he says the guy in the song recognizes this contrast and thinks about a world where there aren't such divisions, a place where the streets have no name. To me, that's a great rock and roll concert should be, a place where everyone comes together. Maybe that's a dream of all art, to break down the barriers and divisions between people and touch upon the things that matter most to us all. Bono wrote the lyrics while on a humanitarian visit to Ethiopia with his wife Ali, as he first wrote them down on an air sickness bag while staying in a village. Wow, that's kind of cool. They wrote the lyrics down on air sickness bag. So really cool that he would do that. I mean, it's about transcendence, and it's just a fantastic song. Basically they were trying to sketch it together, and they did, and they came up with this. But the video was interesting because the video begins with an aerial shot of the band in Los Angeles and clips of radio broadcasts where you can hear DJs, and they're saying, "Oh, U2's filming their new song and their new single. You should go out and check it out." And they were in fact doing that on a rooftop of a liquor store, which was reinforced and put together for them. 2 minutes into the video, U2 is seen on that roof, and they're singing "Where the Streets Have No Name" to the crowd. And basically, in the video, you see the police shutting it down because it's making too much of a ruckus and it's blocking traffic and everything else. It's kind of a tribute to the Beatles in that sense. So they were filming this before a live crowd, and they actually played an 8-song set, which included 4 performances of "Where the Streets Have No Name." Prior to filming, they did spend time reinforcing it and planning it all out. And the depiction of the police attempting to shut down the filming due to safety concerns actually happened during the filming, just as seen in the video. Um, with their producer almost arrested following the confrontation with the police. Basically, it drew a crowd, and when you do something like that in public, you're going to draw a crowd. And unfortunately, when it gets too crowded, if it's not planned, if it's not set up correctly, can cause a bit of a commotion. So, kind of interesting, kind of neat. Always liked this song. Loved the video when it came out. Always saw it on MTV. It was just a staple on MTV for many years. I mean, you would see it all the time. But love this song. Love Joshua Tree, and that's my number 3 song. My second favorite U2 song is I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. The lyrics really speak to me. I feel like they can be a reference to experiences in my own life. I also really love the bass line to this, even though it does sound like Eye of the Tiger. And the band admits that it sounds a little bit like Eye of the Tiger, as we'll talk about in a minute. I love the references to Christ and being a Christian. That really speaks a lot to me, and it's very important to me. Verse 3 is my favorite, and I'll read it to you. I believe in the kingdom come, that all the colors bleed into one. But yes, I'm still running. You broke the bonds and loosed the chains, carried the cross of my shame. You know I believe it. Which is really powerful and really speaks to me and speaks to my heart. It speaks to my faith. Basically, U2 wrote this. It's their second track from the Joshua Tree and was released as their second single in May of '87. It was a hit, becoming the band's second consecutive number 1 single on the Billboard Hot 100, and it peaked at number 6 in the UK. The song originated from a demo where Larry Mullen Jr. played a unique rhythm pattern. Much like the Joshua Tree, the song was inspired by the group's interest in American music. So it's influenced by gospel, and a couple of other styles. Bono's vocals are high on the register, and Edge plays a charming prego, I guess that's how you pronounce that. And there's a choir-like backing to the vocals provided by the Edge, which is just amazing. It was critically acclaimed and received 2 nominations at the Grammys for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. It's become one of the group's most well-known songs, and it's been performed in many of their concert tours and concert films. So like I mentioned, it was originated in a demo and it was titled Weather Girls and Under the Weather, and the band recorded during a jam session. The bassist, Adam Clayton, called the demo's melody a bit of a one-note groove, while an unconvinced Edge said that it was kind of like the Eye of the Tiger, played by a reggae band, which is kind of funny because I've heard him in interviews say that it's kind of like the Eye of the Tiger. The band liked the drum part, but the drummer, Larry Mullen Jr., was not convinced. He didn't like it, and he had to be convinced to use a drum machine on it, and it's just one of those things where it took some convincing. Bono was interested in the theme of spiritual doubt, which was fostered by Eno's love for gospel music and by Bono's listening to songs by the Swan Silvertones, the Staple Singers, and the Blind Willie Johnson. After the Edge wrote the chord sequence and played it on the acoustic with the power and the strumming, the group attempted to compose a subtle vocal melody, trying a variety of ideas. During a jam session, Bono began singing a classic soul melody, and it was in addition to this that Edge, heard the song's potential. At that point, he remembered the phrase he'd written in a notebook that gave the song its title, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And that really influenced, Bono, and it was also influenced a little bit by Bob Dylan, and his song Idiot Wind. You'll find out when you reach the top, you're on the bottom. So he wrote the phrase on a piece of paper and handed it to Bono while he was singing, and the Edge called the phrase "fit in like a glove," fit like a glove, and then from that point on, that was a song. So this song just has always spoken to me ever since it came out. Such a beautiful, beautiful rendition, and I can sympathize with some of the things that he speaks about in the lyrics, and that's why the lyrics really, really speak to me, because so many experiences in my life are talked about in that song. I mean, just dealing with trying to find and accomplish different things, and never being satisfied with things. So really great song, very powerful song, very powerful lyrics. So that's why it's in my top 2 right now. And sometimes this one can be my number 1. It's my favorite song off of the Joshua Tree album, and it's as a song I go back to over and over again because I just love it so much. And my number 1 U2 song, my favorite of all time, is All I Want Is You. It's just a beautiful love song. Part of the reason why I love it is it's the only U2 song that I think I can actually sing and hold the melody. Don't hold me to that because I'm not going to sing it for you guys. Save that for the ladies. But I can actually sing part of it, which I really enjoy. But I also think it's just a gorgeous song. The lyrics are wonderful, are a very pretty nod to two lovers, and I do love the guitar solos on this. So one of the other cool things is, and you see it in the picture, and I'll talk about it in a minute, is Bono brought a blind guitarist on stage to perform this and gave him his guitar. And this happened in 2011. It's a great story and a great thing. And I'll talk a little bit more about it as I describe the song, but I may include a link to it in the video because it's a really cool moment at the end of a U2 concert where he brings this guy on and sings this song. So it's the final track on their 1980 album, Rattle and Hum, and it was released as the 4th and final single in June of 1989. It was released as a UK single in that same year. The B-side featured covers of Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers and a cover of Love Affair's Everlasting Love. So, interesting. There's an interesting video. So, it was a promotional video that was shot in the town of Ostassia outside of Rome on 18th of April in 1989. It was written by Barry Devlin. And the video is kind of strange and kind of interesting. Definitely check it out if you've never checked out the video because you'll be kind of fascinating. So what it is the band members make just a brief cameo, but it's the story of a person with dwarfism who falls in love with a trapeze artist. And it's one of them dies towards the end of the video, and there's a disagreement amongst fans on who exactly died. The Edge is saying it's the trapeze artist who dies, but it's just interesting because you see him fall in love with her, and he's trying to get her to notice him, and it's just fascinating. It's interesting. It's shot in all black and white, and it's really a homage to the Italian director Fellini, who is shooting his last movie only a few minutes away from the U2 set. And it's also a tribute to Todd Browning's 1932 film Freaks, which that's an interesting movie all on its own. At the end of July 2011, show in Nashville, as I mentioned, Bono invited a blind fan on stage to play All I Want Is You on a guitar for his wife after the normal set closer, Moment of Surrender. After the song, Bono gave the fan his Irish Falcon guitar. Now, Irish Falcon is like Bono's signature guitar that he has had throughout all of his career, and he gave it to this guy. And just awesome that Bono would give that to him. So here's the origin of the song, which is fascinating. It's interesting. So Bono's wife was pregnant with their first child, and Bono was a bit uneasy about having children. They've been married 6 years, and he wasn't sure, if he was ready to be a father. And his wife, Allie, eased his mind about it. To quote Bono, she told me she loved all of me, that even the troubled parts of my soul were her delight. Which, wow, that's beautiful. How can you not be moved when your spouse or your girlfriend or somebody close to you that you love says that to you? My goodness. He wrote, she didn't need to be anyone else. She loved me. And then grateful and inspired, Bono wrote, all I love is you. All I want is you, for his wife. And then he goes on to say, all I want is you isn't really a song about his own experience. It's a song about his wife's attempts to soothe her husband's struggles. He can't make all the impossible promises he wants. Jewels, treasure, a highway that's miraculously clear of traffic. But that's not the way she wants to be wooed. She doesn't need material goods. She just needs him. Bono and Allie became parents in May of 1989 when Allie gave birth to their couple's first daughter, Jordan. All I Want Is You was released a month later as a single. So what a beautiful, interesting story that shows the realities of a couple and the realities of balancing life as a rock star and a family man. This is just interesting facts about that song, and it makes it all the more interesting and all the more wonderful to listen to if you think about it. Anyway, what are your thoughts on U2? What are your favorite songs? What is your top 10? Let's have a great discussion below in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.